All right, cool. 1 second. Can you guys see screen?
Yep.
All right, cool, awesome. Yeah, so so this is the second week. Basically, you guys have 10 weeks left, right? It's more than 2 months, but thing is less than 3 months. And then today's office hour, what we're going to talk about is how you are going to validate your problem and hashtag find the right problem, right? And then we do have 3 times that you guys can ask question, as it is like a small groups. That's you guys can I'm just gonna ask. If you guys do not have any problem, you guys can give me a thumbs up. If you guys have a problem, you just can type it on the chat, and then you can ask me the question. All right. Cool. I guess let's start. Yeah. So the Nemos and I, or other mentors, we talked to everyone or the teams last week, and then we clearly understand what you guys are working on too, right? But generally speaking, type of the startups idea that's any founders that they can start to do it is one, solve your own problem that you have faced before, and second, solve other people's problem that's somebody they had a problem before too, right? But it's not your own problem, probably your second network too, right? And last one is a trendy problem. For example, you're gonna start to build analytics tool on the Clubhouse. The thing is that could be a trendy problem. Anyone can do it too, right? As it is a trendy problem too. And then question could be how you can test your hypothesis too, right? That's what we're gonna talk about today, right? And then to make your hypothesis, key questions are, first of all, who has a problem? Describe user and the customer persona. That's Johannes asked me last week how we can start to do it and how we can build the customer persona, right? That's what we're going to talk about today. And second, what is the problem? That's you can simplify the sentence. Usually for the ideation stage of the startups, they list up 2 to 3 questions. Oh, we do have they do have a problem. First one, second one, and last one. But thing is, in the end, usually when we talk to C stage companies, they do have a very, very strong product market fit, or probably let's say they are aiming to, or they are toiling to achieve the product market fit. Actually, they can clearly explain the problem in a very short sentence, and then one feature that they are going to build, it's going to be just right solution to solve the problem too. So if you think about, if you list up 2 to 3 problems right now, probably you need to dive into the problems more. Means you need to talk to your customers too. That's we are going to explain later too. And then last question is, why is there a problem right now? That's probably I need to explain a little bit more, so I'm going to explain you later too. And then question could be how to test your hypothesis too, right? And there are actually 2 types of approaches. One is the qualitative, another one is a quantitative, right? And both one could be right, but thing is, it depends on the stage of the companies. You need to do the right things too. And then, for example, a qualitative approach could be user interview, survey, insight, raw data too, right? However, quantitative side could be data, statistics, known facts, market report, or you can hire researching companies too, right? And then I just mapped out on the graph. So basically, quantitative and then qualitative, and then on the depth is the insight. So it means it's not a known fact, right? It's an unknown fact. But thing is, you are the only one that's the things too, right? And then the bottom is a known fact. And then this is just my based on my own experience. But thing is, especially if you are early stage companies like you guys incubating idea, very important thing is on the top right side of the corner. You need to do insight approach. You need to get insight, but to do so, you need to do very, very a strong qualitative approach, such as in-person interview is the best one. And second one is the online interview. But due to pandemics, it could be slightly challenging for you guys to do in-person interview. So like you can do like online interview too. The thing is, if you try to do it, and then if any of your potential customers, they say, oh, we do not have a time. Actually, what it's saying is they are not actually interested to help you guys too, right? In that case, probably actually like, you are not solving their problem. Because if you are like showing up, hey, we are going to solve your problem, usually what's ended up happening is your potential customers, they say, yes, we really need the solution for this. I'm happy to give my time. I'm happy to give my information to you, but please find a solution for us, right? So if anyone is not like helping you guys, means probably what's happening is, again, likely you are tackling the things that people really don't need to help. So, and also like if you can do it, actually, like, question could be how you're gonna acquire customers too, right? So it's actually, saying that you cannot build a business too. So, and then just like quickly explain why in-person interview is more important is because, I mean, probably like, we have done the, like a bunch of like, video calls like since last year, especially probably like you guys age, also you guys at universities, you guys have learned the things from online too, right? But still in person is better because the thing is that you can see their body language, right? Basically actually like a problem like, video call or Zoom call is you can see only their face too, right? But actually like, when you talk to like somebody, you can see how they are behaving too, like a body language, direction, also like a kind of like a nervousness, whatever. The thing is it is very important to see the in-person interviews. So for like the next like 2 to 3 weeks, what we wanted you guys to do is basically to set up the even like a fast interview this week. And then once you have like a clear persona and the customers, you can start to make a survey and trying to get the number of the potential customers as much as possible. And that can become like, the insight. That's you guys are the only one who knows the things too, right? All right. So far, any questions? Everything's clear? Or if you don't have any question, you can just type it, all right? Asma, Johannes. Clear? Thumbs up? Okay, cool. In that case, let's deep dive into the things, all right? So break down the like a first question. What is the problem, right? Should be like a simple sentence too. And then tell us what the problem is. And then there are like a few kind of related to like a questions. One, is it a problem that people really wanting to solve by spending their money or time, right? It could be like, problems, but thing is actually people really don't care. They say, for example, what could be? Example could be, let's say, I do exercise a lot. I do get tons of health data, my weight. I do like some kind of like exercise every day. So I'm like tracking like so many like health data. The thing is, if people show up, hey, you can pay us like $10. I'm gonna give you like personal training or like a recommendation for your lifestyle, and you can be healthier. The thing is, probably I wouldn't pay because I wanted to research myself. I kind of like enjoy doing it myself too, right? But that's like a small things. Probably I can say I wanted to improve. That sounds like a problem. The thing is, it's not the problem that I would like to pay for like apps. The thing is that if I can work with like a top tier, like a professional trainer in Japan, for example, in that case, I may pay money. So it really depends, right? The thing is again, you need to make sure this is a problem that people really want to solve by spending their money or time, right? And second one is the when and how often do potential your users have this problem? Because the thing is, probably you don't want to solve the problem they face just once a year, right? If you're building like a software companies, but thing is, people just use like once a year. Probably, actually, it's not like a scalable too. Like people just say, hey, we want to hire you as a consultant. Why we need to pay like a monthly base, right? Because they just like do it like a December, and the rest of like except for the other month, probably they don't care by solving this problem too, right? So you need to make sure it depends on like the industry too. But thing is, if you are like tackling, for example, like green book or the Namaste, that's like a purely consumer businesses. In that case, probably the like the frequency need to be like quite high. It could be daily base. It could be like once or twice a day. It could be like twice or 3 times a week. Probably if somebody like do have a problem once a month, challenging. However, if you like for example the Stan Davis case, you guys like tackling the problem of the like a hotels owners too, right? In that case, probably like a weekly type of stuff could be good because probably people tend to upload like a social media, website, any of the contents like a daily base. But thing is, that's like a more posting activities, probably like the campaign stuff. People think about weekly base too, right? So if you like tackle that's a problem, that's good. But thing is, even like a once a month could be like a very challenging too. In that case, if you are solving like somebody's problem, they do have like a once a month. If you can charge a lot, that could be good. But thing is, if it is like a less than once a month, once in quarter, like every like 6 months or once a year, probably that's not the problem that you can solve by building a software, or it's not gonna be like a let's say like a startup too, right? And then that question is, what is the situation when potential users have this problem too, right? So actually, like as you guys like founders, you need to clearly describe what's like the starting point, what's the end point too, right? Because that's their workflow too, right? Even doesn't matter for the customers, the consumers, like enterprise services. But thing is, you need to clearly understand how they are like dealing the problem from like a starting point and how they are going to finish in the end point too, right? And then if they're like 10 processes, that let's say they're like if you break down the processes, they're like 10 steps too, right? And then by using your product, they can reduce actually like 2 or 3 steps too, right? Therefore, they can save 10 times faster, for example, 10 times cheaper, and then you can clearly define the benefit. But if you cannot do it, probably you do not have enough understanding of the market. Yeah, go ahead, Johannes.
I've been thinking a little bit that we solve a problem both for the photographers or influencers and the hotels, because the influencers haven't been able to monetize very easily before. So do you think that we should have problem statements for both of them, or should we just focus on the, like, I guess the real customer is actually the hotels?
Good question. That's like a very challenging point of the like a marketplace, like a businesses, because always you need to build like a demand and supply too, right? And then based on like a last discussion for like our mentorship is either you can really focusing on like a hotel side, or you can focus on like the influencer side too, right? Because let's say for like let's like talk about the influencer side. By the way, sorry, like I'll not. We started to do it. We are like recording this, so you can just like check the past like 10 minutes and stuff, and then you can ask like any question. You can like thumbs up and chat the question too, right? And then so like let's say if you wanted to focusing on like influencers, multi-influencer, like let's say like a Pico influencers, like they take like a bunch of like pictures, they wanted to like monetize their like pictures, right? But in that case, probably it's not necessary to focus on actually like a hotels owner. It could be like a restaurant and stuff too, right? So you need to understand like a type of like the pictures. You need to probably like specify the type of Instagrammers, right? And then how often do they take pictures? What's their look? For example, like they are like the blogger for like food, blogger for the bar and stuff too, right? In that case, or cafe, maybe like they go to like a cafe 3 times. It could be like 4 times a day, and they take a picture, and each time like they take like 10 or 20 pictures, right? In that case, basically they can sell it to the cafe owners or like the bar owners and stuff too, right? So in that case, not necessary to like tackling the hotels owners too, right? So again, it's really depends. So that's why in order to build like a marketplace, based on like my experiences, you really need to like focusing on both sides clearly. That's like actually I'm gonna explain like the next in 2 slides later. But thing is you cannot say, oh, we're gonna like help the hotel owners and then we're gonna focus on like the influencers too, right? You need to specify the type of like influencers, probably again, that could be like a travel, like a blogger and stuff. How often do they travel? How many pictures they take? What's their income look like? And like how much they want to like, make more money and stuff too, right? And then where you can get it, for example, right? And then how's their like income resource right now too, right? And that's the level of the insight you need to specify, for example, right? And then another one is if so, probably this one could be customers too, right? In that case, you can deprioritize hotel side too, right? And then you can start to do like in the hotel side. But however, if you want to focus on like a hotel side of stuff, again, the approach is going to be different too. So usually building like a marketplace is like a slightly challenging, especially like at the beginning. The thing is, I would suggest that's the things we're going to talk about in the two slides later. That's like you need to clearly identify, or like let's say like you can like a map out like who's going to be like a potential like a persona and stuff too, right? So that's why I wouldn't focus in like a solution at this moment, like next like this week and next week too, because it is very important to identify who's going to be like a potential customer and users too, right? But like let me explain like another one too, and then what the situation looks like. Another one is the what's the Skepsis, right? Skepsis case is like probably like a very good example actually. They say for anyone like who publishing like a paper, it takes like XYZ. The thing is, in that case, they need to have a clear idea what's the process looks like, right? Because they say it takes time. But thing is, in that case, how long, how often, what's the process exactly? Each time, what do you need to submit to, right? That's the level of the depth like they need to have it. I mean that like I'm not sure. Oh yeah, the Alna is here. But thing is that's for example like each team has like a different type of like insight you need to build it. But thing is to do so, you need to basically like, talk to like users as much as possible, right? And then this one could be actually like a good question, like actually the answer to like Johannes' question. So who has a problem, right? And describe user and the customer persona. And then to do so, describe their persona and segment. The key thing is to add it like a 2 to 3 adjectives or a characteristic to describe persona. So you cannot say millennial. You need to specify 2 to 3 like characteristics more, So for example, what could be the different things is like, for example, name, age, country, and city, type of like degree, type of the school they went to, industry they work for, type of work, even like a title they are titled to. If you are like tackling, for example, enterprise services, also interest. If you are like building like a consumer business, you need to specify that their interest as much as possible, and also status too, right? For example, are they single? Are they married? Do they have kids and stuff too, right? That's another one. It's very important like things too. And then again, if you're like the tackling a problem for like enterprise businesses, the name of the companies, industries, work title, income, sales volume too. So probably this could be like a good one for the Stan Davis for like a hotel owner size too. The size of the like the hotels, number of like a hotel. Are you focusing like independent like a boutique hotel, or you have like probably like a 3 to like a 5 kind of the hotel owners who have like a few hotels too, right? It's again, but the thing is, if you're gonna do like a 10 hotels or like a 50 hotels chain, the problem they're gonna have is gonna be completely like different, So that's the things you need to do. I'm gonna share like a kind of a template so you guys can use it later. And then example could be the one I shared with you guys like last week. This is just like the James is like just like a random guy's name, but thing is like this is kind of like original story. That's like how Uber they started to do it too, right? So James is he works for like a fintech company, financial district, San Francisco, right? He is 30 years old. He is still single. He goes out drink with his friends every weekend, and he likes like socializing stuff too, right? And then even after work, he drinks with his colleagues, and sometimes on the weekday too, right? So he takes a cab 3 times a week, right? And then income is like 150K, and he lives in Ocean Beach. Means probably like from Ocean Beach, like a financial district, like to take like a mini and stuff, it takes time, right? Probably like a 45 minutes or 30 minutes there. But taking also like a cab is like a slightly expensive too, right? So from door to door, you're just gonna like catch like a cab on the street, and then it's gonna take, let's say it's gonna take 30 minutes. And then probably like, from like moving to like San Francisco City to Ocean Beach, it's gonna take 30 minutes too, right? It's like an hour process, right? But that's the things that you want to improve, for example, right? And then test your hypothesis, like this is the third important things. Why is there a problem now? That's like, let me explain like a little bit more. And before thinking about the solutions, I know like everybody's like, has started to have like a solutions, but thing is to think about again below, okay? And then how are users dealing with the problem now? And then you need to think about, are they paying now by using like that solutions? If so, how much, right? And if not, why they don't pay, right? Is it like too expensive, or they, or like they think that that's not useful, right? For example, like that's move to like the next question. Any existing like competitors or services that they have used, or they are like considering to use, or they are using, right? In that case, you should try to get any feedback or information about why it doesn't work for them, right? Because even though I am still using, let's say like a limo, but thing for me is too expensive. So I just can't like afford it every once a year for the Christmas season or whatever, right? In that case, rest of time, you know, to take a cab, basically I just need to wait on the street, right? It's not right now, like back to 2009 too, right? And then another one question is like a why now situation. That's, here is another explanation on the next slide. And then based on these information, this one, this one, this one, again, you need to think about, is it the solvable problem or not? Because the thing is, it was problem, it has been problem, but also it will be problem too, right? So even though if there is a problem, actually it doesn't guarantee that you can solve the problem right now, you know? So you need to think about, you know, like, you know, that's like a right moment, that's, you need to think about solution, right? That's, you can be like a creative too, right? And then, for example, like a Uber's case, right? Why that's a problem, like a, that, why like a back to 2009, why that was a good idea to make Uber too, right? Example is like a GPS, right? New technology. Another one is like a social behavior was changed. People started to like build online identity because by using like a social network service too, right? Twitter and Facebook too. That's kind of like a people started to build like a sharing economy service too, right? But that's coming from online identity, and then people start to build sharing their online review on the website more often than before, right? And then also like a financial crisis too. It means there are like a bunch of people, they are looking for different type of like a financial supplement, right? That's why a bunch of like people in the US, they do have a car, and then they start to think about, oh, maybe actually I can make a little bit more money by driving Uber and Lyft, right? Basically, you know, that's why, that's like answer the question, why now, for example, right? Any questions so far? Everything's clear? You do have a question. All right.
Oh wait,
Yeah.
this is not a question, but I have to go now because I have school now.
Oh, okay, no problem. Thanks, Cora. I'm gonna share the link. See you
Bye.
later.
Thank you.
All right, bye. Any questions, Jack, Johannes, and Arnav? Everything's clear? Thumbs up. All right, cool. All right, let's move. And then another one is the validate market. That's also like we talked about a little bit last week, right? There are like two types of the market you need to think about. One is the focusing on niche part of the big market, and then that means you are going to disrupt existing market, all right? So everybody knows there is a huge market size, and then you are tackling the niche part of the market, and then you're gonna start to disrupt existing like a market too, right? But if this is an obvious problem based on like my experiences, why there are not any startups, right? Why you guys are only one that you can solve the problem too? That's, you need to think about again, because this is the type of the risk is based on your execution too, right? Because let's say there is like a 10 billion market, and then anyone can start $100 million like a companies. It's let's say it's obvious for anyone too, right? I can start to do it. Nemo-san can start to do it. Anyone from software, they can start to do it. And in that case, why you guys are one who can build a business instead of us too, right? Because probably it's gonna be so many like a competition too, right? So you need to think about, is this like in a big market, and then you are tackling this, the niche market problem. And then my suggestion usually for startup is basically like focusing on like a growing market. It means you are the one who are making a new market too, right? In that case, usually not everyone is clear if this is a market or not. But thing is, for you guys, right? I mean, you guys younger than me, younger than like Nemotsu, right? So you guys know the things, for example, we don't know, right? I mean, I use like I like download like a TikTok and I don't use it that much. For example, like some of you guys, they may use more than me, right? In that case, maybe you guys have some kind of like a problem that you guys face it too, right? And that's the things I have no idea how I can solve it because I'm not the right person too, right? But things actually you guys are the only one who can make the solution too, right? Another one is the for example um, uh, online learning too, right? I mean, Minerva is probably one of the leading university that student can travel each semester. And then also you basically the study through online platform too, right? I mean, I did like online school too, so I kind of like a little bit understanding. However, to compare the rest of the university and colleges, they have no idea how you can study like, the online too, right? So you do have like a better insight for online learning, for example. This is the type of things because I believe online learning, that's type of like a new like edtech companies, it's gonna be much more like popular, and then it's gonna be like a normalized because like a pandemics and people probably want to have like a hybrid model and stuff. But thing is they don't know how to do it, right? Because they haven't done. But thing is you guys know actually how to do it too, right? So that's like for example, just like an example, but I think that's the type of like insight you guys already have it too, right? And then I believe so many things you guys already have it. The thing is, the thing is, it doesn't mean like you guys knew. I do have an insight too, right? Sometimes you just don't notice, right? So these are the things, for example, like making a new market is based on the market risk because anyone can jump into, but thing is, everybody doesn't have any insight. So usually for like for the younger founders, especially like first time entrepreneurs, you can just bet as long as this market is grow, basically you're gonna be you are the one like who's gonna build a service too. That's a kind of like I experienced on like AI and the chatbot too, like since like 2015. So I'm happy to share my experience with you guys too. All right. And then why now question is the this is probably like the good one, how new market is like a building, like these like a four factors, right? Four factors too, right? The political things, economic things, like a social behaviors thing, and then new technology too, right? For example, like a political things, like for example, like a Brexit too, right? And then in that case, like probably used to be EU, but thing is now people think about how people like build like the independent business, like UK, what's the relationship too, right? And then another one is this. So for example, like last year, actually, sorry, like this year, presidential election too. That's the huge like political activities too, right? Used like probably in the US, people used to import stuff from China. But thing is, because like a new political dynamic or like a confliction, they cannot do it. In that case, actually, there is a new business in like a domestic supply chain, for example, right? The thing is, it hasn't been. But thing is, it's gonna be too, right? For example, and then China, America is like a political war too. Another one is the economy, new economy market and giga economy. For example, like probably you guys could be the one like people like travel, people don't work for like the same company forever. The thing is like at the same time, like a kind of like a gig economy too, right? And then everybody become like a freelancers too, right? Actually working for one company could be already like an old idea. Maybe like people started to have like 2 to 3 companies, like a part-time job same time too, right? But thing is in that case, how you can deal the payment, what's gonna be insurance and stuff too, right? People don't know because nobody have experience too, right? But thing is you are the one who's gonna do it too, right? For example. And then another one is the emerging market population growth. That's usually happen to like Southeast Asia or like Africa. Anywhere is like, the growing market too, right? Because usually the government is very slow to implement a new system, So there's so much space that's like startups and then companies, they can build the businesses because they are basically serving to their own country's people too. It's like a much faster approach. And then another one is like a social approach. Pandemics, social distances, even like people took like a vaccine already in the US. The thing is like people still wear masks. Do they have to? We don't know. Should we wear a mask forever? Could be, right? In that case, maybe like building a new mask, personalization, D2C and stuff. You can make like own mask and stuff. That could be new idea too, right? Because it's just like a clothes too, right? Probably you're gonna wear clothes too, and then probably mask become like one of them. We don't know yet. The thing is that could be too, right? Another one is remote work too, right? And lastly is like a more technology approach too. 5G, why now machine learning? Why like deep learning? Why like a blockchain and stuff too, right? This one could be the kind I can think about why now question, and more like the like big changes from the like a different type of like a component. But thing is, you need to think about why this is a question, why this is a problem that we can solve right now, right? And then this is probably like, slightly like, another information. And then you need to think about why you and why your team. And then especially without any traction, this part is a key questions too, right? Are you a very famous founder, exited your startup before, or like have traction before? For example, if let's say us, everyone, we're gonna like team up and we say we're gonna build like a SpaceX. The thing is, the Elon Musk and us, even like if we have 100 people, and then to compare Elon Musk and social traction, he's a very famous, right? For him, it is much easier to get money, even like he can put own money too, right? But thing is, even like we put it like $100 each, right? I mean, nothing's gonna happen too, right? That's like a simple question. Another one is like, do you have an industry knowledge? For example, work experiences, operation, or do you have like a specific license too, right? Another one is, do you have a technical knowledge? But technical knowledge means, it doesn't mean I used to work for Google. I used to work for Microsoft. So many people work for like a Google, so many people work for Facebook. So I don't consider that's like a technical knowledge, but thing is, if somebody say, I have done the research for like a deep learning, like a past 10 years, that was my thesis from like a PhD, right? And then in that case, like a total experience could be like, let's say even 15 years. That's the level of the technical knowledge. That's the asset for them too, right? That's you need to think about. And then another one is, do you have like a sales pipeline or a clients list, right? Because if I say I'm gonna start like a space industry, but thing is that I do know anyone from NASA, for example. Probably I do have a friends too, but thing is I do know anyone like who can make a deal with me, right? In that case, if somebody already used to work for that space, and if I am the first one, I'm gonna start to do it. To build a sales like the knowledge and sales pipeline and stuff, just gonna like it takes time too, right? At least like probably 6 months, a year too, right? In that case, if they have done it, that's their asset too, right? That's basically like a knowledge and why not question too. And then if not, how to prove that your team is the right setup that is able to increase traction as much as possible. It means for you guys, if you haven't launched a product yet, the type of like traction you can build is basically insight. You need to get insight as much as possible, right? Means you need to talk to like a potential customers as much as possible, right? That's like we wanted to like start to do it for the weekly pitch. And before moving to like maybe like we can do like actually the example too, because that's gonna like wrap up the lectures. So that's like 2 companies we are going to have a fireside chat in 3 weeks and 4 weeks. For example, like Shofu is a Taiwanese company. I am an advisor of like this company, and found her name is Hani. I'm not sure like her like Taiwanese name. So like what they built is basically a computer vision technology. If anyone wanting to sell their merchandise online, usually what's happened is I take like this glass, I take a picture, but thing is it doesn't look professional, right? And then I need to have some kind of like tools to edit the pictures. But thing is that by using like a Shofu, they can upload it and they can just make any of like pictures very like professional picture on the online channels too, right? And then what type of like insight she has is this is like a computer vision like a technology she studied, and then that's like she got the I think master or like a doctor thesis from like a high university. and she went to like one of the top school, Taiwan University. That's like basically top school in Taiwan. But that's, for example, she spent at least multiple years to study like this like technology too, right? And then she started to think about how can I consumerize this technology to specific industry. And then as Taiwan has a very like, I don't know why, but thing is that they're like a marketing like a technology like so popular. So she started to do like this company like a few years ago, right? And another one is also like a Zoe we're gonna have them for the fireside chat in the 4 weeks. And what they do is this is a new product. Basically, like they tackling the problem for the remote work, and basically the problem product that they provide is automate your Zoom to HubSpot workflow. So it means if we are doing like this course, if we implement Zoe Meet, they capture the things we talked about it, and we can implement to like their like Slack, the HubSpot and CRM. If I am salesperson, I am selling stuff. Basically, like I am selling stuff to Asma, Johannes, like Jack, like Anna, and then basically we know the things, the key highlight and stuff too, right? And then salespeople can get business intelligence and then improve the like a conversion rate of like a sales funnel, right? That's what they are doing. And the interesting thing is so they are working on the voice space basically past 6 years, and this is the probably third product they pivoted, right? So it could be like an interesting idea for you guys why it didn't work before, right? The previous like a product, it didn't work, and they are like still working on the voice space too, right? But thing is, same time they are getting the insight as much as possible, But that's like for example the level of the like a commitment they have done like past 6 years, right? And then last one is that was like my previous company like a Foxy. I didn't have any like insight for the industry, but thing is I do have like just like a passion, and then I used to be like an event organizer, and then I used to so I was like doing for like connecting people and stuff, especially like consumer businesses. Past probably like 6 years and stuff. Now I shifted to more like a BC's one, but thing is still I do a lot of like kind of like building the network and communities. I really enjoy doing that. So my case, I do have an insight, but things I enjoy doing that. And then I had a problem with connecting like people, like socializing stuff. That's kind of like I started to do it too, right? I wouldn't describe. I didn't have an insight before, but thing is, I do have a passion. That's kind of like I started to do like my business too, right? So if you are like this type of like founders, nothing is gonna convince you. The thing you need to do is just like build attraction as much as possible, because people are just gonna ask you why people wanted to use it too, right? And then people ask you, what's your industry experiences, what you have done before and stuff too, right? What type of stuff you say like the building a network and community, like what type of stuff you build too, right? And in my case, I have done only like 3 or like 4 times. Now I can say this is the type of stuff I have done. So like I can say, but thing is at the beginning was very, very challenging because nobody was convinced. I say we just like our team is we just like focusing on like increasing attraction as much as possible. And then some point we noticed that people started to like actually like behave slightly different because they can see like monthly growth, right? So they say, oh, that's like a wonderful and stuff. And I thought like that's kind of like funny to see. That's the kind of like validate your problem. And next week, what we're going to talk about is how you're going to do the user interview, how you're going to do the survey next week. The thing is, this week is think about what type of like hypothesis that you can make it, start to test it like a potential user and customers. And next week, we can start to implement how you can do the user interview and how you can do the customer survey too. Any question for today's lectures? Actually, it took like 40 minutes. Okay. Anyone has any question? Everything is clear? Okay, Nemo-san is clear. Asma, Jack, Johannes, do you guys have any question? Oh yeah? All right, let's do Jack's question.
Yeah, actually, are we gonna get these slides? Because I really like them. I have 2 questions.
Yeah.
What was
we're gonna share the slide too.
Yeah, what was IP in the slide just before the examples?
Oh, intellectual
That one.
property. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. That's like you are the one like you submit the technical stuff, right? So you can declare that's my work, right? Officially. But the thing is like these were the level, and then I mean it's also like a good to work for like the company's brand is also important too. But thing is in the end like what you have done there too, right? Because if you work for Google and then anyone work for Google can raise money, it means so many people are the Google too, right, already. So question could be what you have done there, what type of like insight you got it over there too, right? If you are head of like the computer science, if you're like a part of the like the data science team, if you're gonna start to build some kind of like, data analytics tool, you have dealt so much volume before, and then he or she knows much more than other data scientists too, right? So that's the type of like the like a social credential like people usually can give you like a score too. Otherwise, it's gonna be very like a kind of, I wouldn't say like a normal things. I mean, obviously you guys like a much. I really think you guys very smart, and then probably you guys have done a lot of work too. But still, to compare like it doesn't mean you do have like industry knowledge too, right? So you need to think about what's the stuff you can sell it. And then for the founders, honestly speaking, just get like a potential users as much as possible. And then I am pretty sure you guys can find the insight that people haven't found it yet. And then also a problem is usually user cannot tell this is a problem. You need to listen, digest, and you need to think about actually the things they say is these are the real problem, right? And then if you go back, they say, yeah, actually I got true. But the thing is, it doesn't mean they do know the answer too, right? Because if they can specify the problem, if they already know the type of like a solution they can build, maybe actually they are building too, right? And so that's like the having the user interview is basically listen part, digest, and then list up the things like they say clearly, and then what's the real meaning behind, and then based on that one, trying to get like these things as much as possible, not just like a one person. Maybe you can talk like a 3 or 5. If everybody start to say like a similar things, right? Maybe that's the real problem, and that's the right time you can think about how we can make the solution too, right? And then if you go back, hey, thanks for your time. And then we had after we had like a user interviews, or we had like an interview with you, we thought this is a problem, and then we build this, right? And then if this is a right problem, they say love it, like we really wanted to use it. How can I start to use it? Like how much should we pay, right? If they don't care actually that much, it doesn't matter it's like a functional or not, like basically they knew, oh, this is like a solution, we need to have it too, right? And then if they don't care that much, probably that's probably like a solution could be wrong. But thing is, usually for solution part, actually I'm not sure exactly. So you need to basically launch it and get feedback. That's like a different type of like a feedback from the user side. The thing is at the beginning, because in order to build a solution, it's going to take like a month or 2 months, 3 months easily too, right? So that's why, again, we wanted to make sure you are tackling the right problem first, because solution could be always like a creative too. And then the more you have like a clear idea, the type of the problem and type of the persona, actually a solution you can build could be like a much simpler and much faster. So that's why like a validating the problem this phase is very, very, very important for the journey of like a startups. And then I think that all the teams, you guys are tackling like a very like a unique problem, and just gonna try to like specify a little bit like narrow down what's like a problem too, right? They say this is a problem, but thing is, let's like think about again. Let's talk to them and trying to like identify what's like a key, like a top problem that they really need to help from you guys. All right. Cool. I mean, you guys have any question? Like, oh yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Jack.
Yeah, I'm just making this a conversation. I just trying to think of how many times Instagram, Facebook come up with a new update, maybe after spending months of, the design team researching what is the best way to make this icon, present this layout, and then they finally come up with their masterpiece. And then each and every time we're always criticizing, we're like, this new layout sucks. This new button doesn't look good, despite the fact that it's a product of months and weeks of getting feedback and redesigning, which always makes me think, how much weight am I supposed to put into user feedback, especially when I'm developing the product? Because I don't want to take them too seriously, because I'll end up making too many iterations and some of them may not be necessary. So I want to ignore them a little bit and also know when to turn off and turn on the feedback, so getting all those ideas into account, maybe from your experience, it will be helpful to hear when is it useful to turn off feedback.
Yeah, it's I think it is a great question. And also, probably you can ask that question to Zoe too, because they have tried a past few years for tackling very similar problem, they are changing the angle too, right? And then based on my experiences, usually two types of the things too, right? One is the initial launch feedback, and that's more building the key features too, right? Because if somebody say, oh, it doesn't work, but thing is, if you change design, I may use it. But that's initial launch too, right? In that case, if people are giving you that type of feedback, probably type of feature you're building for the initial customers, right? I think they're not gonna use it. They are just nice to you, right? But thing is, for the initial in the product that's you're building is no matter design, no matter the things the accuracy and stuff. And probably accuracy is slightly different. But thing is, design small change, the small things more optimization doesn't make you you're gonna find a right problem. But thing is more trying a new feature and stuff that gives you the more identifying a product market fit usually based on my experiences. And then another one is if you started to build, if you work for a big company like Instagram and Facebook too, right? For them, the number of the users is huge, right? So they need to do always the statistics approach too, right? So you need to find core users first, and then test with them, and then see how they are using, and then it's going to predict what if they start to implement to entire platform, right? And then they wanted to probably there some people they hate it, but thing is if that increase their case is probably monthly active users, daily active users, probably number of session lengths, right? For example, and then if they can see the higher session lengths in total, probably they're just gonna implement too, right? Even though if he's gonna kill the few people, they may not like it, for example, because overall that gives a better score for them too, right? But thing is it's kind of a slightly a different way to do it. For the early stage startup is you need to find the early adopter, and then you need to have a clear idea and then test with them. But thing is, if they're keep giving you a feedback, oh, we don't like this design, this button and stuff, this UI and stuff, usually it's not the right things you're building for them, usually, based on my experience. Because even if we go back, right, they say, oh, that's cool. And then a week later, what's happening is probably they don't use it. And that's happened to me. Maybe it's gonna be different for you guys, but thing is I don't believe that way. In that case, you're probably tackling a wrong problem for them. Or you're building something it doesn't work for them, right? People usually don't say it doesn't work, this is sucks, why are you spending so much time for this, right? People don't do it somehow. People are very nice. So once at some point, if you start to have 10 users, if you start to have 100 users, you can see power users. In that case, he or she just one or two or three customers users, they kept using so much to compare other people. In that case, you need to just talk to them, and then you need to understand why they use more than other people's too, right? There is probably a hidden insight actually you haven't noticed it. And then maybe persona could be slightly different, even size could be different, or the things that they do slightly different. But thing is, that's also another right time. That's you need to get a feedback as much as possible from them too, right? Yeah. The thing is, like, usually I cannot answer like all the question because every like companies, every application has like a slightly different places. But thing is, in generally speaking, it has kind of like a general ideas too, right? So like at this moment, what I suggest to everyone is just like talk to potential users and customers, and then think about these questions I just share with you guys too. I'm just gonna make like another document that you guys can start to use it, and then next week we're gonna have to like how you can do the user interviews, how you can do like the survey too, right? Yeah. But why I suggest is you can start to make like a spreadsheet, name and stuff, right? Just like I started to type it, and then that's gonna be kind of like, the list of the early adopter of your service too, right? If he cannot get it, basically, it says it is very difficult for you to acquire customers too. Because if you say, oh, we cannot reach out, how we can reach out too, right? In that case, like, we don't get any like user interview, like how we can reach out. In that case, how are you gonna reach out? How are you gonna acquire customers too, right? Once you launch the product. So this is actually a good time to think about what could be ideal, like the acquisition channel, what's like a marketing plan too, where they are staying right now, right? What type of like a software they use and stuff too, right? So cool. Any other question from Asma, Arnav, and Johannes? All good? Thumbs up? All right, cool. I mean, if you do have any question, we can talk about like a mentorship too, because it is like challenging to optimize for each company, like a specific like situation. But that's like that's why we do have like a mentorship too, right? All right, cool. And then this is the good question that you can ask, especially for the current founders. That's we're gonna have like a fireside chat too next like a few weeks. Yeah, awesome, cool. In that case, see you guys on Slack then. All right.
Thank you. See
Thank
ya.
you.
All right.
Bye bye.
Have a good one. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.